Well, we've got some amazing racing on the horizon as the second half of the season now begins. When championships are concerned, if you put yourself in the window, you now have to make sure that your storefront looks very clean and tidy. We head to a circuit that nestles itself away in the Cheshire countryside, just outside of Liverpool. Welcome to Oulton Park and welcome to the second half of the championship here with us in the Creator Series in Season 2 of iRacing. My name's Jake Sperry. John Harris is along with me for today's action as we get ourselves set for what will be 46 laps of racing around this place. But John, this is what we call a national circuit. And then when we have a national circuit, it means that it's going to be a little bit more close quarters. You don't have 54 million miles of runoff to work with. It's stay within the lines or you're gone.
Most definitely. A very old school track. I'd almost say a national treasure for the UK, really. It's one of those iconic circuits. Most of us have played it at some point. I remember it, if I remember correctly, on Toka 2 was the first time I encountered this track. And it is one of those sort of fast-flowing courses that has been adapted over the years with the chicanes and the slight modifications to a few corners. But yeah, one of those things that you think either BTCC or F4 or even Formula Ford and you go straight to this circuit is one of those tracks where have to be super technical and so committed, but overtaking tricky around here as well.
Overtaking will be difficult, and looking today at the format that we have, it is going to be over the top of the hill and with the Hislop chicane, and we'll also have the Britain chicane to go and work with as well. So 2 chicanes on the back stretch. It's very much how they normally run it here at Oulton Park. But let's talk the schedule first and foremost. I think that's the best place to go and start with if I can get my words out. So we'll keep an eye out on where we have been and where we're going to. And we'll have a break week next week, so there'll be no racing action for you on the 27th of November. But what you will have is Charlotte Roval on the horizon, December 4th. That's going to shake things up then with the Cup class, the Cup circuit of Watkins Glen ending out the calendar. I think it brings a nice balance to the end of the season, John.
Yeah, for sure. You've got the Charlotte Roval that is sort of a mix between the two, isn't it? You've got that oval banking where you can attempt overtakes, but it's very technical, a bit like Oulton Park. You can see that really on the track map, to be fair. And then Watkins Glen, another track that's a bit like Oulton Park, but where overtaking is a little bit more sort of easy and less opportunistic. So it's going to be a case of just managing the pace for the drivers at the top of the standings. But of course, we've got to remember they start from the back. So overtaking is going to be a really big deal in these last 3 races.
Yeah, so keep an eye on the overtaking, keep an eye out on how the championship's going to work. And in fact, now's a good time to bring up the championship standings and see where everybody has been fighting in this championship. And so with back-to-back wins, it is Aerotech who now holds the championship lead and does so by 4 over Sparks, and then an extra 1 over Greedy Me, who is not here today to go and score points. Punju then is 4th, with Hayden Gullis not here today in 5th, so it means that Matt 212 is a little bit languished behind in 6th, ahead of Ryan L83, Lamp, Josh's Corner, and Super Noodle Bagel making that top 10. So the day today, it's Aerotech, it's Sparks, it's Punju. Those are the 3, John, that you're going to have to keep your eyes on.
Yeah, it's quite interesting, actually, the dynamics of the championship, because the top 3 there that you've just mentioned are quite, I'd say, sort of high to mid-tier pace, because you've got drivers like, for example, Greedy Me, or even Hayden Gullis, let's say. Hayden Gullis, Ryan L83, Lamp, that are sort of mid-table. Greedy Me quite toward the top of the table, but not racing today, sadly, as you said. And they are going to need to take major points now to get toward the top 3, and that is going to be a challenge, really, because for people like Ryan, the torrid season that they've had in terms of contact and just missed opportunities, I mean, it's crunch time now. You've got to go for it.
Yeah, so they got to go and have a mega amount of pace to go and make their championships work. Now, just before, because we've got no qualifying here today, and we've got about 15 minutes before we get to the start of racing action, what we like to do here at Creator Series is talk ourselves through the drivers out there, and the driver with possibly the most dangerous sim rig in all of motorsport right now, Joshima's here along with Josh, are you worried that someone's going to trip down the stairs behind you?
It was a worry, but thankfully, yeah, the sim it's on rails. I push it forwards when I'm not using it. It's not too bad, but yeah, I do worry I'm gonna fall down and fold myself over on it. Yeah.
So the sim rig is on rails, but is the car on rails this week?
Not so much. I don't get to practice iRacing too much. So when it's like, oh, look, this is the track for this week, I read the name and I'm like, do I know that one? I'm not really sure. I think I know Oulton Park. I'm doing okay in practice a little bit. We'll see if I can keep it on the road.
Oulton Park's pretty much more of a known quantity out there for the British racers who are out there and have run this circuit time and again and understand what this place is all about. You and Oulton Park, is it a love relationship or is it a hate relationship or is it a love-hate relationship? What is your relationship status with Oulton Park?
I'm doing okay at the moment. Yeah, I think I prefer the layout without the chicanes, but this one's okay. I do like it. The undulations and stuff. The final sector is so difficult, but yeah, no, I'm doing okay. I'm enjoying it. I'd say it's we're on first name terms, I guess.
It's complicated.
It's complicated. Yeah, there you go.
It's an old school track, and I think maybe overtaking is the name of the game today. So have you sorted any spots where you can make that happen?
Yeah, there's definitely a few you could do it. I won't give it away, but yeah, I've got a few ideas. We may see some cars flying though. I reckon some people are going to be doing some crazy things into some of those chicanes.
What's it been like for you running the F4s this season? Because looking around and seeing how you need to get up to speed, what the sort of challenges have been and sort of how different week to week, race to race it's been, do you feel like it's been nice to settle in and have the same car to work with over the course of the season?
Yeah, for sure. The dirt oval we did last week was actually like super good, really fun. Still the same. Yeah, keeping it the same car. It's definitely like had some sort of consistency to it. Yeah, and it's a fun car to drive as well. Really good car. I like the F4.
So in terms of strategy, what do you think you're going to go for? A more conservative strategy, more aggressive? You're going to try and get in the mix at the front?
No, I don't know if I have the pace for the front. I think mainly I'm going to be pretty conservative, look to survive, wait for opportunities. Maybe a lucky safety car timing puts me up somewhere crazy, but I think I'm going to just try to keep it on the black stuff.
Well, let's hope that you find a way to keep yourself on terra firma for today's action, because Joshima's there has joined us for a nice chat, and we'll jump immediately over and have a little bit of a different way of having a chat today, because we're going to talk to race control for today's action. They call him TK. I'm not sure what else they call him out there, but we've got, of course, Tom Knight, who's here along with us. Now, TK, race control is the most thankless task in all of motorsport out there. No one likes you, everyone hates you, but in terms of what you sit up and do with the unsafety car each and every week, just talk us through the process of what you're trying to achieve here with Creator Series.
Yeah, it's a great job, and obviously shout out to everyone that does it kind of in real life and for the competitive leagues around the world, because as you said, it is that thankless role. Thankfully at Creator Series it's a little bit more relaxed in many aspects of the word, because you have these fantastic creators that really get behind the spirit of having a bit of fun at the end of the day. You've got, we decided about potentially running a safety car or using the in-sim safety car, and we went, you know what, let's try and mix it up a little bit, run something that no one else is running, and that's where the unsafety car was born, to basically be chaos on the circuit, but also provide a good laugh and a good bit of content for our drivers.
Has it delivered 100 or 2% in your opinion? Because as we saw last time out, it was a bit chaotic on the dirt oval, wasn't it?
Me and Nick, who were running the other safety car, Nick Packin, had the most fun that I think I've ever had on iRacing running that GTP in a dirt oval, because on the face of it, it was the most ridiculous thing in the world. We had so much fun trying to drift a GTP car on a circuit that it will never go to in real life. And, if people had an ear inside of that race control VC that we all sit in during the race, all you would hear is us laughing, because it is so much fun to do what we do.
And so we're looking at today and how fun it's meant to be. It's 46 laps, but it is a national style circuit. So with those tyre bundles out there today, TK, that as we know have been glued into today with a bit of cement, so they are not going to budge for anyone, how much unsafety car action are you expecting?
You know, I think if we were having this conversation at the start of season 1, it was maybe quite a few times, but actually the drivers have matured and developed over the course of the season, which has been something that's actually been really fantastic to see. They've actually learned a lot from each other. The racing, because it is so relaxed, you've got kind of two ballparks of drivers, those that really want to try and improve and will put in the hours, and the others that actually just kind of show up, learn from racecraft and etiquette from others, and that's where they really start to benefit. So the driving has got better as the season's gone on, miles ahead from what we saw at the Indy 500 last season.
And with the pace maybe converging, does that make it more likely to have said unsafety car come out on track?
More likely. I think you've got kind of a paradoxical relationship. I know it's your favourite word to say. You've got the speeds that are getting quicker, but the driving skills getting quicker. So when mistakes happen, and they, more than often are going to happen at least once in this race, the speed creates a bigger piece of drama, a bigger accident, so it looks more dramatic. But actually, if we throw it back, it's occurring less often. So it's a parasocial relationship.
Can you confirm, TK, if Scotty Designs is fit to drive the unsafety car, seeing as Scotland have qualified for the World Cup last night?
I can neither confirm nor deny as to the state of our other unsafety car driver. I've been advised that by our lawyers.
Wait, you have lawyers?
I am the lawyer, and I've advised myself to not state it.
Last question then, maybe the lawyers cannot listen to this part. Is there any chance that the drivers may be able to contribute with, say, for example, cookies to get decisions in their favour or not?
Well, unfortunately, I can't encourage bribery of an official of such a serious league as the Creator Series. However, cookies are always well received up in race control, as are many other very sweet and savoury snacks of any variety. But of course, I cannot have an official stance on any of those matters.
Well, we will see what the official stance will be after things go through. TK joining us then from Race Control and having a wonderful bit of a chat with us. So, John, we're not a million miles away from racing action out there, but we are in the next few moments going to have a little chat with some of the other drivers that we have available. But as we look out then over towards this circuit, how cool is this right now at Oulton Park? It's one of the more known circuits, and you'll see some aggressive racing action, especially through there into the Shell Oils corner.
Yeah, the banking on that corner makes it so, well, a possibility at least to make an overtake either around the outside or down the inside. It's a track really where with the chicanes you have to sort of position yourself, and you'll often see an overtake happen through multiple corners where someone will make a mistake, drift wide and have to lift off the throttle, and the momentum will be on the back foot then. So you might see an overtake starting in Druids, for example, and then ending all the way up at turn 1. So it's kind of a track where you have to be patient and not make a mistake, really. It's a waiting game, but a fast waiting game in an F4, that's for sure.
Yeah, so there's patience that's needed. The fastest car that has gone around here is a GB3 car out there, and the lap record holder is actually from a very well-known iRacer out there, John, in Joseph Loke.
Yeah, the car is extremely fast around here. I've been watching onboards of this track from real F4 and also from the iRacing, and it's so similar. Like, you can look at the apex speed, you can look at the turn in, the handling of the car, and you go, well, hang on a minute, is this, if I compare the videos side by side, you'd probably get the exact same sort of lap time. So it's really interesting to see the best drivers go out there and really throw the car in, because this car loves to oversteer. Aha, we have Riff Blondie with us. Hopefully it's going okay out on track. We've seen there's a little bit technical to get used to this track. How are you finding it?
It is interesting. It's hard indeed, but thankfully I have already raced on it. It's just different to be back to Formula cars from GT cars.
What's that transition like then? Because, of course, when you've got a GT car, you're more reliant on the mechanical grip. When you've got the likes then of a Formula car, you're relying more on the aerodynamics, which are out there to keep you planted to the road. Is it a different style then for you to try and get the car to sort of do what you want it to do?
I definitely feel the difference on the cars, basically because this one shifts different. The lines are completely different as well. and I would say this one is a lot easier. It's just different to try and gain the confidence in the car again.
And in terms of overtaking, is it a high confidence track? You obviously have to be quite committed to commit to overtaking.
I would like to be able to do some overtaking. I don't know if I'm there tonight. So I think it's a very high speed track. It's mainly the higher gears rather than slow, so it's gonna be tricky there. It's definitely gonna be tricky.
Rift, I can confirm with best intentions that you have the most well-behaved livery in the field.
Thank you. That's my dog there that you see.
Well, we might be barking up the wrong tree with any dog-related jokes, but is there any sort of apprehensions coming back to the racing? Are you sort of like fully warmed up and ready to go battle in Oulton Park?
I don't know if I am fully warmed up. What I know for sure is that I'm really excited to be back, and I missed being here with all the creators and to talk to you. And yeah, it just feels great to be back here.
And so, with you being back, what's the end goal of tonight's racing? Is it just survival first and see what the result is later, or do you have an end goal of where you want to be after 46 laps?
I would say my end goal is to always have fun, avoid crashes if possible, and the result, whatever it is, as long as I finish the race, that's a win for me.
Well, we will hope that it's going to be a win for you in racing action. We'll leave you to your practice. Rift Blondie out there joining with us on a 35.4 at the moment in terms of practice time. We are also going to get the opportunity to just jump in because we've got about 4 minutes left. He always wants to chat with us. It's our snooker professional, Ryan L83. Ryan, where's the cue?
It's hidden away tonight. Been a bit busy playing another sport now, paddle.
Oh, no.
That's a big change. Why the change then? Explain that to us.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. New sport, try it out, love it. Taking it seriously, I've got my own kit now, so, you know, sweaty time.
Yep, so on the bandwagon and trying to make that work. How has things been for you over the course of this last week? Because the way that this season sort of run for you, you've shown at every single round that you've got the pace to go out there and win, but it hasn't quite formed together over the course of this season. So how are you looking to try and shift the tide?
If I'm gonna be honest, as I go off the track, it has affected my mentality going into the races now. I'm just the most unluckiest person in iRacing in the Creator Series at the moment. But kind of the position I am in the championship now, like 26 points, I think I'm behind Aerotech now. If I don't have a good result here, I kind of know it's over and I can just focus more on just having a bit of, you know, consistency now is the plan. I know this race is going to be very interesting, so I think this race may determine my focus of the championship in terms of going for the wins and going for the title, or being less aggressive, less, you know, going for late moves or anything like that, and just play the safe game and just get some valuable points on the board and get top 5 in championship would be nice.
Well, it's going to be a difficult task because we've been on board with you for about a minute and I've yet to see a car that isn't in a barrier at the moment. So in the incidents that you've been having, not necessarily your fault, obviously, but has there been a common trend of the stuff that's been happening, like an action that's sort of repeated in, you know, causing the crashes?
Not really, if I'm going to be honest. I think both instances that have happened have just been... Well, one was a back marker last time out. Then obviously me and Sparks going for the win, you know, on the last few laps of Winton. It is going to happen at that stage, and it just didn't work out for me. Just hopefully me not practicing this week, you know. It seems if I practice, bad things happen. If I don't practice, good things may happen. We'll see if that theory's correct tonight.
So you mean to tell me here, Ryan, that you can't see the Nottingham Forest between the trees?
Sadly not at the minute, but hopefully by the end of the race we can. Don't think I can see it from Oulton Park, but you never know.
Well, hopefully you won't get sent too high. And we're just getting news here of the shenanigans of the unsafety cars trying to force another car through the barriers. I'm not sure that the physics is going to be very happy with that, put it that way. What do you think in terms of the situation with unsafety cars? Do you have to, again, wait for a situation to happen or a collision to occur to influence your strategy this time?
I think the issue I had last time out, which I was a bit unfortunate, is the timing of when they got called out. So I missed the pit lane and Hayden managed to get through. So I'm just going to have to hope the unsafety car comes out fine at the right time and I can just dive in. If not, it is what it is. But they do throw some surprises, which is the whole point of the series, you know. You never know when they're going to come out. But they do spice races up, and that's quite a good thing.
Well, we hope there is going to be a little bit more on your side for the next race here that comes along at Oulton Park. Ryan L83 with double fingers crossed, which, as we all know, John, as we have Ryan go away very quickly, we'll go to the grid in a moment. Double fingers crossed means it crosses out the fingers crossed.
Yeah, not a bold strategy there. I think he's just trying to hedge his bets on both sides of the coin, as they say. I think also for Riff Blondie, the comment at the end just saying trying to keep out of trouble. It's kind of the cop-out answer, I'll say, and that's no disrespect to Riff Blondie. It's just that when the visor goes down, when the green light goes on at the start of a session, it goes out the window and you attack anyway. So it'll be interesting to see whether drivers keep it consistent or not, or conservative. Yeah. I think it might be a bit of both.
Well, let's take a look at where everyone is lining up for racing action here today, and it is Riff Blondie who is on the front of the field, and alongside Riff Blondie, making her their first start since the opening round of the championship where it all went wrong at Spa. Blueberry will be back out there and racing from the front. Els Indriani will be going from third with Ancephalosis alongside for company. Following that on row 3 is Chesnoy Gaming and Grand Poobah. Then over to row 4 where Brendan Hyperstar finds himself a little bit up the order from what I'd expect. Still, Molina is going to be there for this one in 8th position. As row 5 will house Joshy Moose and the Baked Bean Machine of Super Noodle Bagel. A big fan of that machine is Raven Alternate, who is out there and streaming on Twitch. You then got Josh's Corner in 11th with Ryan L83 in 12th. Possibly a good decision there to be a little bit more up the order, as Matt 212 and Punju will be on row 7. Matt having a stellar season. There is the Welshman. You then got Sparks and Aerotech, your top 2 in the championship. Aerotech on back-to-back wins, looking for a 3rd straight here today. And then those who are your part-timers are from the back. First start for Dunvus, who will be going from that 17th position. Lith Fox there in 18th, representing the VTubers, along with Monkey Matt, and making it a 3rd VTuber tonight, Reska Kyoso there in 20th position. We can't forget row 11 with Conton Dal Olmo and Lamp, who won the season opener over at the Circuit de Spa from Cachamp, had shown lightning pace over the course of this. And then at the very, very back, the 000 of the Stag. And some may prophesize that the Stag did, in fact, have a very nice time representing San Marino in action in the Football World Cup qualifiers last time. And also, some may prophesize that they are the main financial backer of Curacao, who have made the grid out, or make the tournament, sorry, I should say, as the smallest nation. There is Brendan Lichtenberg as we take a little look at the field, getting themselves set and ready for racing action. And it's one of the few circuits where they will actually line up down the hill of the leap, the Deer Leap, at the end. So drivers like Reska Kyoso, Lamp, the Stag, they're going to have a massive uphill start out there overall. We are in a little bit of a hold at the moment here, John. They've got a 10-minute grid hold. The issue they've got is Conton Dal Olmo can't get himself onto grid. So obviously he's running around trying to go steering wheel. Give me steering wheel.
Yeah, I can imagine that's not an easy scenario to be in. You know, you want to be calm before a race start, but it's ironic that the Frenchman can't join the British grid here. I will say that much. But it's going to be an amazing race because people like Ryan L83 have a chance to cut through the field here, starting midfield. But there's also that risk as well. It's a tricky turn 1 and turn 2 here. It's about like third, fourth gear corner, so you've got to be very, very careful on the brakes, and the lines converge.
And it looks like Conton Dal Olmo has found the join button, ladies and gentlemen. So we will be looking to get to racing action. And 46 laps, there will be a fuel requirement over the course of this race to manage it as the green flag drops. And we are underway for racing action. One car has started from the pits. That's Sparks, who has decided to make the call then from pit lane as they go into Old Hall Corner for the first time. Top 4 all good, but now they are going to slide about there. Brendan Hyperstar seeing in front that Chesnoy Gaming runs a bit wide into the Cascade for the first time running, and Chesnoy gets the run on Ancephallosis. Now watch the run, there's a spinner in the back.
I think that's Matt 212 dropping back is possible. Yes, it is indeed. That's very, very unfortunate. I think just got tagged, really, the late apex there, and that's not ideal, but it does give you a bit of breathing room up the inside. Whoa! Nearly Grand Pubert got taken out there, I think, by Ancephallosis, but just late on the brakes, locking up. A lot of action happening with Storm Molina trying to go round the outside and defend from Ryan L83. Ryan's had a bit of a conservative start, so just trying to keep himself out of trouble. Maybe the mindset in the back of his mind of just what has happened before. Storm Molina going defensive. Not really that much to do, but through turn, that's Chesnoy spun round. What a disaster, and again, collisions, yeah, Super Noodle Bagel also collected.
Yeah, that's what happens. It's a single file chicane and everyone's going to try and trip their way through. And everyone runs out into troubles. Ryan L83 making great progress here. Side by side, almost tyre to tyre with Ancephallosis. Druids might be the most underrated, hardest corner out there. And Ancephallosis is going to drop 3 spots, if not more, for it, and then into Lodge Corner. Brendan Hyperstar then sees Grand Pubert run wide and just leaves the room on the exit, and up the hill is going to grab the place. So 1 lap has found itself completed. Blueberry is your leader over Riff Blondie by a full second.
Good to see Blueberry having a good race. They've had some big technical issues sometimes, so yeah, let's hope nothing like that happens. Brendan Hyperstar got very, very lucky at the race start there, just onto the grass on the outside of turn 1, and that is a great overtake there, I think, by Contan as he worked his way up the order, passing the Stag. So that was just a clean overtake, having a little bit more grip or confidence. The Stag, though, insistent that he will not let it slide, but there's nothing to be done at the moment. It's sort of a single line corner through here. You're on board. I think this is with Reska Kyoso attacking Punju into the first chicane. So you can see it's a very, very fast first chicane, but if you hit the curb, you can do exactly what Punju did and lose all of the momentum, now setting up for an overtake. You're going to have about 120 kilometers per hour on the apex, so it's still very, very fast, and anything can go wrong. Reska Kyoso leaving the room, but Punju trying to keep it on the accelerator and will probably defend this from the inside.
Yeah, and up the hill they'll try and go. Dunvus has run into troubles out there with Chesnoy Gaming, but now Punju sees that you're on the wrong side. Lithium Fox always working with Reska Kyoso, the 2 in tandem, and a little grab of grass from Lith is going to open up the chance to come back. Conton Dal Olmo has eyes bigger than his belly. He'll look for a way to go and make this move, but it is not going to happen there because Lith Fox runs wide, and then Conton Dal Olmo will jump on through. Ryan L83 with the fast lap of the race and the pass on Els Indriani. That is a move that is almost done for Els. Grand Pubert's going to try and follow as well by the looks of it. Then for P5 into the Cascade they go. Brendan Hyperstar now 3rd, 4th for Ryan L83, and Grand Pubert then just losing out to Els Indriani. Here comes Storm Molina on the left.
Yeah, it's going to be super difficult to defend this one. If you've got the overspeed, you can carry it around the outside. Storm Molina is going to have to try and do that, but can she close the door? Yes. The door is slammed shut. That's Grand Pubert down another place into P7. So what was looking like an overtake has just transitioned through, again, that difficulty in maintaining momentum. Oh, at the front there, that is, I think, a defense from Brendan Hyperstar, who might have made a mistake there. On the no, it's Ryan L83 that has made a sort of semblance of error, and yeah, Brendan Hyperstar is just trying to attack right there. So this is going to be a really heavy-hitting battle between these two. They have the pace, but they're letting the top two get away at this point.
Well, the issue there for Brendan Hyperstar, he overcommitted through the Shell Oils corner. He got up over the top of the curb. It's a banked corner, and so if you're over the top of it, you're going to have to deal with the consequences of the car bottoming out on the curb and just beyond. So that's why Ryan L83 got the pass into the Britain chicane. But as we take a look here with Brendan Hyperstar into the right then of Lodge and back up the hill once again to end the third lap's worth out there. This is where you're starting to think about, where am I going to find the abilities? You know that Ryan L83 is quick. Stay with someone with great pace, and you'll have a chance to really start jumping up. Big issues then through turn one and backwards. El Zindriani.
Yeah, not ideal. I think maybe just a collision. Oh, rejoining in front of, was that Matt 212? Cool, that was a huge, well, close moment and very skillfully avoided, it must be said. But yeah, that was a heart and mouth moment right there as the battle still continues between Brendan Hyperstar. He's losing a little bit of pace now to Ryan, it must be said.
Well, it's big, that incident for Els, because guess who it took out in the process there, John? Your championship leader, Aerotech.
Oh, that is not ideal. We didn't really see that. So, oh, it was collision. You can see the damage there, actually. And that is huge steering damage, if I'm correct. Yeah, not being able to turn. Unfortunate, and that leaves the championship sort of wide open. Spark's not necessarily doing well either, so we could have championship on its head by the end of this race. And it just demonstrates the difficulty in overtaking here, because you have to set up the overtakes through this last sector, really, which is very fast-flowing corners, so you can get up the inside in the chicanes. And it just takes a little bit of overcommitment, and then you get damage like that. It's super unfortunate, but it happens on old technical tracks like this.
Looks like a tow there for Dundas, who has hit pit lane and has actually gone back and forwards and has really confused the timing out there for this one. So I'm just going to double check. Yeah, so came through and then reversed back, and that's an exploit. That is an exploit there. So Dundas has gone over the line, taken the tow, reverse back, then taken the tow to build a lap, take the fast repair, and get back out and going. So it is still classified down in 23rd position, but obviously hasn't lost as much time as possibly it could have done moving forward. Very sneaky.
The race control saw none of that. There were cookies that I saw being passed around, so we'll have to disregard that little incident right there. As yeah, we're just still attacking. I think this is this Reska Kyoso being attacked? I'm not quite sure. I do not have.
It is.
It is indeed. Yeah. So Josh's corner. I was correct. I did double check myself there, but Josh's corner working his way up the grid now. So the pace of these cars is probably going to just be catching the cars in front now. So they want to keep it clean. The dirty air will be a little bit in effect, and it can just create that understeer. You could see mid-apex, the steering wheel just having to be rotated twice to try and get that bite and turn it. And especially around Druids here in a minute, it's so crucial to not get any sort of oversteer, because there's that double apex. You get on the grass on the outside, as we saw for Lithium Fox, it can be over in a split second.
Griff Block has been overtaken twice in the space of about 5 corners, once into Knickerbrook, and the here stops. Oh, backward! Josh's corner goes backwards at Lodge, so easily done. Blueberry now with the fastest lap of the race, and suddenly back to pace again.
Yeah, Lithium Fox collided, I think, just with late braking. We'll be able to see it, but it looked... Oh, no, he's lost it by himself. I thought there was a collision. It looked like a collision, but no. Lithium Fox just trying to avoid that one. Punju nearly collecting Josh's corner there, so very, very unfortunate. And he'll rejoin in P12, so a lot of that pace lost. And a lot of maybe tyre conserving now to do to get the tyres under the perfect temperature again. And that's Grand Pooh Bear off, I think, into the gravel and possibly into the wall.
Oh, yeah, buried it in there and is able to get back up to speed again. We'll take another look. It's all very difficult through here to make sure that you can get onto the brakes. You can see just locked up an inside front, and then, actually just avoid... hang on a minute. Now, that's what we call staging an incident there. Decided, oh, I've done too well of a job there, John, of avoiding the barriers. Let's just kiss it for good measure.
No, he had too much oversteer, so he's just redoing the balance of the car. Wouldn't worry about it. Oh, just a corner, clamped to the apex and nearly in the barrier there. I think I saw a little bit of dust, and oh, that's Punju off in front. Can they avoid it? Yes, I thought they were going to approach with a bit more speed, so Punju getting lucky there that nobody collected him, but it's so easy to lose the car through Knickerbrook Corner. I love the name of that corner. The story and the lore behind the name of that corner is hilarious. You ought to look it up, but yeah, a lot of just stuff to be gained now in terms of position from Punju, who's doing such a great job. But again, this track takes no prisoners, as they say.
So the TLDR of that, for those who decide they don't want to look it up, is that they went to go and build the corner, and two people very much ran away, and they found a pair of knickers down in the brook at that corner, so hence why it's forever known as Knickerbrook Corner. Punju there, you can see, that's definitely not what we would call his normal setup there. You can see the motion ring he's really having to fight through at this stage. It's almost like he's racing from his office.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a bit of an industrial site, doesn't it? So, yeah, I mean, obviously, with the motion rig, that might give him a little bit of just extra feedback. You can see the lockups that are happening right now. A lot of people using the tyres to the utmost extreme. And I love the fact that you explained the lore behind the corner name. I wasn't sure if we could say that on broadcast, but there you go. You've clarified it. And it's one of those old school stories where you go, these tracks have a lot of history behind them, and there's a good reason why everybody loves coming here to race.
They do, and look at this group. Right in front of Punju is Sparks, who is directly part of that championship battle. It's a day where all of the big drivers are in trouble, and that's Riff Blondie in trouble. They're in the gravel coming out of Knickerbrook Corner, so she finds herself in trouble. Storm Melina is also very slow, running through to Druid, so I can only put 2 and 2 together and make 4 as the two have come together on the exit of the corner. It was just a drop through that section of track by Riff Blondie.
Yes, unfortunate that one for sure. That's going to lose them a lot of places. A lot of, you know, they were running at the front, doing it quite consistently, but as soon as you lose a bit of pace and you get overtaken, it goes into the back of your mind and you're like, oh, hang on a minute. There's an overtake maybe being staged here between, that's Josh's corner, and is that Sparks as well racing? Yes, I think it might be. The livery's a little bit different to last time, so Sparks just attacking Josh's corner, looking to find a way past, and yeah, Storm Melina nearly losing it on the exit of turn 2 as well. So you just got to be super aggressive on the overtakes, on the braking, and that's the only way to really get it done. The downforce won't be able to save you, but unless you can force a mistake, you just got to be patient and wait for it to happen sometimes. It'll be interesting to see, but no way through for the moment. Josh's corner doing a great move in defence and just late braking, not allowing that dive bomb to happen. But there is a run now.
There is, over the top of the crest and back down the hill to the Hislop chicane, and the angles there through the next left. Are they going to hold it together? Yes. So inside line is there for Sparks at Knickerbrook, and he takes the corner away. Punju now will need to get by Josh's corner as quickly as possible. You've got other great scraps going on right now. For example, Lithium Fox and Matt 212. Remember, Matt had spun around on the opening lap of the race. He somehow got himself up into a top 5 scrap.
Yeah, the pace is most definitely there. I think Matt 212 has had the pace all season, but again, a bit like Ryan L83, who's just set the fastest lap of the race by any coincidence. They have that ultimate race pace, and so they're using it to great effect. And it just emphasises how you've got to keep it on track, because so much stuff happens, so many little incidents or mistakes happen, that if you just keep going and keep the pace, anything can happen. Lithium Fox really pushing now and making a mistake at the exit of Cascades there, and that will just hamper the pace a little bit throughout this straight. And you can see the car just snapping there. Maybe the tyres have lost the optimal temperature, I think.
Yeah, so we are seeing that Storm Melina there in a scrap as Josh's corner missed the first corner of Old Hall, and so Punju got through. So now Josh's corner under pressure from Storm Melina, and she's trying to get back up to 11th place as Sparks now tries to work an angle against Els Indriani for position, and I just saw it off camera there for a second there. Sparks very nearly losing the front wing over the rear tyre of Els Indriani. Els takes the corner very gingerly and allows Punju to go through as well, but she knows that she's in her own race there, and ultimately Punju now has to keep Sparks on a tether.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's allowed Grand Poubert to get away as well, but at the front, it's looking spicy, and that is, I think that may be Ancephalosis that is just behind it is Ancephalosis. So the gap, 3.5 seconds. You will just see Ryan probably just outside of the camera range, but there is Ryan popping into range just on the entry of turn 2. So yeah, the gap is coming down quite drastically with Ryan setting the fastest laps consistently at the moment, and that will add a little bit of pressure. Talking about someone under pressure, Lithium Fox, Matt212, has the confidence and has that exit speed. This could be setting up for an overtake into Island Bend and then into the Shell Oils corner. Yes, it's been, well, the door's been shut though. That is just the statement of intent from Lithium Fox saying, I'm not going to make this easy for you. You're going to have to work for this one.
The way the Matt212's driving this right now, he'll poke a nose to the inside anywhere he can possibly find it. Lithium Fox knows the dimensions of that FIA F4 that's being run, and just does not seem to bother with finding a defence. It's just a case of, you're not going to get down the inside because I'm much better on the brakes, and you're not going to find a way like that. So again, at Knickerbrook, just, or actually through Hislop's into Knickerbrook, again, no chances. Punju's had a moment. Oh, Punju's around. Punju is around, and so he's going to need to try and get back up to pace again. That has dropped all on his own, and I think he's clipped the inside tyre bundle.
Yeah, it's very easy to do if you're going in late on the brakes. Let's see. Well, this is just after the incidents happened, so I think you're correct. Probably correct. Collected a tire bundle. I do see a little bit of damage on the suspension. Let's see. Oh yeah, way too early on the turn-in. Wow, that wasn't even close. Nearly collecting Josh's corner as well. Stormanino going over the grass. Elton Driani as well. So yeah, parks on the apex like that is not ideal for sure.
And if Punju's racing from a sim racing cafe out there, that is by no means his rig. He won't be comfortable in it. And so, you know, you're seeing those sorts of mistakes. If he's at home, he's not making that, as here comes the baked bean machine of Super Noodle Bagel having a scrap with the Stag.
Yeah, the Stag having a bit of a rough time this time out. Just maybe getting caught up in a few of the incidents or not being able to run in clean air. But this is a decisive move up the inside of Super Noodle Bagel. Super Noodle Bagel turned in then, and the Stag had no place to go. And there was a little bit of contact from our camera angle. At least they're going side by side into Cascades. Can Super Noodle Bagel get the turn in? It looks so, but the Stag is carrying the speed around the outside. This will be an overtake, and it will allow Lamp probably to get past as well. Will we see it happen? Not quite, actually. So Super Noodle Bagel still defending for the moment that second spot in this train, although goes very, very wide. The Stag just needs to run away with this, in my opinion. Can't afford to get bogged down in any battling at the moment.
No, you just got to build margin, find a way to break away, see that there will be spaces that open up. They've also got the one lap down Aerotech just behind. Now, just because you're a lap down doesn't mean it's the end of play. If a safety car does come out, then it will allow all cars that are lapped to find themselves back into position. So we'll keep that in mind as they go, and off the road goes the Stag. So there goes that, as Aerotech will now climb the hill. This not for position, so there's no requirement for Super Noodle Bagel to move out of the way, the face of concentration from a two-time winner this season.
I think Aerotech's probably the best bet is to just maintain position unless they've got better pace, because you're waiting for something to happen. You're waiting for an unsafety car if it does happen, and otherwise you're not going to get that lap back. However, it does look like Aerotech has the let's say confidence really to make the overtake happen, to maybe get some sort of just pace back. Seconds can count, when it comes to just getting a lap back and getting back onto the train of the unsafety car. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the battle has been split up in terms of on-track position at the moment. Meanwhile, at the front, I do want to say, Blueberry has done a great job at maintaining the pace versus Ryan. Ryan has only closed down by 0.3 of a second so far in the last 3 laps. So that battle is looking set at the moment. It will all be down to tyre wear and indeed fuel, and indeed not making a mistake. That was so close to losing it out of the final turn.
Blueberry there in the dog box goes with the VTuber law of the world's fastest doggo. Out there even quicker than Riff Blondie's doggo, which is there on the machinery because, well, Blueberry's leading this race and Riff Blondie isn't. So that pretty much settles that debate out there at the moment. But running through now along the lake here at Oulton Park, now known as the Island Corner, and now you'll see the moves. We've got a pitter down in, and that's Grand Pooh Bear making his first stop of the race on lap end of 12, start of 13.
Yeah, it could be the tyres, could be anything really. I haven't really seen any incidents apart from that into the barrier contact, but it was very slow speed. I'd be very surprised if there was any sort of damage happening. So we'll have to wait and see. We might be able to get you some replays of the action as the race started because there was a lot happening and we have missed some action at the start. So I want to see if we can see what happened to map 212 at the start. Just a tag there from Josh's corner and the wheel lifted up and then back onto the track, nowhere to go. And that was just avoiding action for the end of the field there.
Yep, so Chesnoid here as well, having that spin on the opening lap. You can see diving down the hill, looking for a chance. And you get lost in the jungle sometimes, and there he was saying, well, I'm a Creator Series driver, get me out of here.
Yeah, that was just way too late on the brakes, but you got to at least admire it for the getting out of the way, and that was contact. Just getting punted at the rear there was Super Noodle Bagel, and 2 cars just ran into each other. And was that Lamp spinning around? It was, yeah, unfortunate for Lamp. I think just avoiding action there, to be fair.
Yeah, that was tough for Lamp going through, and Lamp almost a minute down, and in comes everyone. So Blueberry, Ryan L83, Brendan Hyperstar, they're all in. Oh, that was another big issue on the opening lap. That everyone's come in, made a stop, and now are looking to get out again. And I mean everybody in right now. 14 laps, all that most drivers could manage. I do want to note as well, Conton Dal Olmo down in the pits now looking to leave and get back out onto circuit. Someone who's managed to go longer than anyone else, Monkey Matt.
Yeah, it's probably down to fuel at this point then, I'd guess, because otherwise you'd want to run later into the race. But,
oh, Reska, where are you going? Reska Kyoso is out on the wild side, taking a rallycross line. Look, over there on the right-hand side. Hark, I spot in the distance someone over the hills.
Not ideal taking the Joker lap, that's for sure, but that has lost them 2 positions there. So I think just getting it on the grass maybe on the entry as far as I can see, or at least onto the marbles, and then you've got no grip, and then you're on the grass even more, and you just continue drifting wider and wider and wider. Thankfully, there's a big runoff area. There are few places on this track where there's a big runoff area, but, you know, positions lost, time lost in a crucial pit stop phase.
So that a critical moment that has solved itself there. A massive, massive save. Then that sorts itself out in the... Oh, massive slide there by Lithium Fox. Monkey Matt gets the reprieve up the hill, heading over towards the next section. Everybody trying to find themselves in line, knowing that they're going to make this race work the way that they intend on it going. Sparks in 12th, Punju in 16th. Aerotech in 22nd. This is a huge day suddenly for Ryan L83 to pick up points. A Super Noodle Bagel continues on the scrap right now. Sparks having to look at that then, as that's the change for 11th. Super Noodle Bagel trying to come back out at it here and looking to make any moves happening.
Yeah, Sparks has had the pace so far in the Creator Series on the fast-flowing tracks like Spa, like, Monza that we had the last season, and it just hasn't worked on the more technical tracks for some reason. You know, the pace has just been, I won't say mediocre. Every driver in this series has very good pace, but compared to everyone else, it's lacked that extra 2/10 that you need to just pull away from somebody, and I think that's where it's just got a little bit tricky for him in terms of the overtaking, in terms of the actual just position. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Maybe it's just a specific thing to this track, but Monkey Mats are looking to move up the order, looking to maybe mount an attack here. It's definitely getting closer to Mat 212, that's for sure. The battle of the mats.
Yeah, top mat is going to be the best battle that we see at the moment. And Mat 212 up in 4th, and still that margin at around 2.7 here for Blueberry over Ryan L83. So that's certainly manageable at the moment as far as this race goes, as we look to try and see around lap 16 here in this race. And so then now they'll be eyeing up where the next chance is to go and make these moves. On the brakes, in through Lodge Corner, you've got this wonderful leap up. If you watch the British Superbikes here, they get air over the deer leap.
They certainly do. It's insane to watch. They have such bravery, and you know, it's one of those corners that even in a car, you just go over it and you get that sense of negative G's, and it's just an exhilarating experience, really, whether you're a passenger or a driver, and you kind of have to just encourage yourself, right, keep it flat. You know it's flat, it's a very fast sweeping corner, but you know, it still requires the commitment. Storm Molina very committed here in overtaking Josh's corner. Will it happen? No, it probably won't. You can't go up the inside here, really. Oh, it's going to converge, and thankfully Josh's corner leaves the space. That was so close to an incident, but you can see the smiles. You can see what it means to go side-by-side racing through here. It's such a unique track and such an exhilarating experience for everybody.
I think the smile and the laugh there from Storm Molina was very much a case there of proving John Harris wrong out there going through turn 3 of the Cascades. We saw that much in spades, working through now the Britain chicane and back up the hill once more. Can note too that Rescue is through on Lithium Fox. That a change for 6th and 7th on the road, as into the Hislop chicane they come along, looking to try and get the drive, and then you've got to pivot it over from the left to the right to go have this attack up now the Clay Hill.
Yeah, there's also a difficulty now of quite a bit of gravel being brought onto track in certain areas where drivers have had a spin, so that can affect the grip. You don't really want that when you're coming out of a chicane trying to put the power down, so it's very, very tricky, especially out of Lodge, the last turn as well that we're just approaching here with our outboard cameras, and you can really, really get yourself in trouble if you go in late apex and get onto the dirt or indeed in the gravel trap. Storm Molina having a great storm. Will they go up the inside, round the outside? Just not the overspeed possible. That is the problem at Oulton Park. There's not the big straightaways apart from after Cascades through Island Bend and into Shell Oil's corner.
I do note that Elzindriani has dropped 2 places. She has in the overtake.gg car out there, and make that another one. Spark straight down the inside of the island corner to go and make that pass, but it's side by side again, and Josh's corner yields out there for position. So Storm Molina finally gets that move, but progress is what we're starting to see out there. Drivers are making progress for those positions.
Yeah, talk about progress. Ryan L83 brought the gap down by another 0.3 of a second. It's slowly but surely going in Ryan's favour. I mean, looking at the laps, he's got more than enough laps to make that happen. And once you get within a second, the pressure starts ramping up on the driver in front, as it looks like Lamp is finally making moves out here in clean air. So that is it's going to be a very tricky position for everybody in front, because Lamp, you can never discard the pace, and you can see there's a gap of 6 seconds according to the timing screen, but it's a visual gap, and that's important when you're chasing down the driver. As long as you can see the driver in front, it gives you extra incentive to push really hard, and that kick of oversteer on the exit of Lodge is an indicator of that.
Any little bit of oversteer is going to be huge. And look at Grand Pooh Bear under pressure from the lap down Aerotech out there. Sparks is trying to jump up inside the top 10 to say, look, I'm going to bring myself into position in this race. And there's always a little bit of trepidation when the driver second in the championship tries to battle first. And who wants a cookie? Because Monkey Matt's still trying to find a way past Mat 212 in the Cookie Monster car.
Yeah, the problem is for Monkey Matt is Matt 212 has a lot of wheel-to-wheel racing experience, and he'll know that braking late is the only option to defend. Basically, going for a late apex, and you sacrifice the exit speed, but because you don't have the big straights, you don't really need to worry too much about exit speed. And the problem is for Monkey Matt, he can't get close enough. He doesn't have the pace advantage to just put a wheel up the inside in any case. So you're kind of stuck in this awkward scenario where you might have maybe a tenth of a second difference in pace, but because of the dirty air, which you can see so clearly through Druids there, it just washes out the front of the car. It gives you the impression that the front tires are completely dead, and then that saps your confidence, and you're forced to just take a back seat for the moment.
And you got to remember as well, John, that Monkey Matt won the first ever iRacing Creator Series race in its history, meaning that Monkey Matt is on the biggest drought in iRacing Creator Series history.
I'm sure he'll be very delighted that we have brought up that statistic, that's for sure. Who can forget that race in Monza? That was something else. And it's one of those things that I think, Monkey Matt has been wasn't trying to win that race, but it just happened through good pace, through just consistent strategy management. And I think he's been trying to do the same thing, trying to replicate it, and it just hasn't worked out for some reason. I'll tell you what, though, this is an opportunity for Sparks. Can we get to the inside? Had to do a little bit of a lift, but Grand Pooh has gone off, I think. But he's not here.
Just about got away with it. Safety car, though, has come out just after that pass, though, for Sparks. So lucky for him in the flat cap, making sure that works. But I'm getting word here in terms of this safety car that they need to hoover up some gravel into the gravel traps. Or sorry, was that race control they need to start hoovering up for all the cookies that have gone by? But let's take another look at this then as the safety car comes out.
Yeah, so Grand Pooh just around the outside, just washes out. Oh, maybe gives it even a tap of the brakes, and the rear steps out and then onto the grass. Very, very lucky saving that. Through goes Aerotech, but they're a lap down, so that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But it does mean, actually, that Aerotech will get the lap back, as well as Elzindriani, Joshima's Ancephalosis, and other drivers that I can't currently see on the timing board, to be fair. So it will be a case of a reset for quite a few drivers here. And crucially... Ryan is in the pits, by the way, with Brendan Hyperstar. This could be an interesting strategy change.
Well, almost everybody hit the pits. The two that didn't, Blueberry and a Mac 212, who prioritised track position. TK is in the 999 unsafety car out there for the moment, and it is worth noting here that that is exactly the same unsafety car of that Riley Daytona prototype that ran in the Jimmy Broadbent charity race supporting Mind.
Yes, many people will have seen this car or have made contact with this car even in that race, as far as I could see from the spectators' corner, as they say. And yeah, it's lovely to see just a reference to that wonderful race that they had, and so much money raised for Mind's charity. And yeah, it's so great that the sim racing community can come together and create such unique and helpful events. You've got to give everybody that was involved in that very big amount of credit, including you, Jake.
There's been a big hit. Blueberry's been hit under safety car by Ancephalosis.
That's not ideal. Unlapping himself, I guess, is Ancephalosis. So I have to get a replay on that. But that's completely scuppered Blueberry's strategy of staying out. They won't have track position. They will possibly have some damage. So let's see what
they're
happens.
crabbing.
Yeah, not ideal. So let's see. So here comes Ancephalosis, as far as I can see. So Blueberry, yeah, Blueberry lets off, and I guess Ancephalosis was expecting them to go a little bit wider, but that's clumsy. That's very clumsy from Ancephalosis.
Now, Blueberry will have to pick up a fast repair here, so she's going to be in a very tough position now, and all that hard work at the front, leading every lap up until that point, and then it's under caution, under safety car conditions, that she loses the lead.
That's going to sting. Let's look at it on board. It might be a different scenario on board, so let's see. So not really anything to play with the curbs and all that. Yeah, I really do think... I mean, there was a little bit more space to the left, but I do think it's just Ancephalosis. Just
communication.
Yeah, lack of communication, I was going to say exactly. I agree with you.
So they are they are talking about, hey, look, we're a lap down here in this. We got to get back up to the group. So Aerotech and Cephalosis, they're drivers who do need to try and get back to the unsafety car, because if they don't, they're going to lose all that time. And remember, Aerotech is championship leader and needs to make places here in the second half of the race coming up. So losing that lap after the contact with El Cintriani, Aerotech's just got to get his head down and realise that it's every place now at this point. He's the yardstick, and right now it's been a little bit under the weather so far in terms of this performance.
Well, that's the funny thing, really, isn't it? That Aerotech and the top 3 of our current classifications in terms of people racing today aren't really doing that well in this race. They've had incidents, they've had problems, and so that is giving the opportunity to Ryan. But in terms of championship, it's not currently disastrous for Aerotech, but it does mean that if anybody gets to the front and Aerotech isn't at least in the midfield, it will be a huge swing of points. There is a good factor, though, for Aerotech, is that he's currently trundling around the track at a fast rate of knots, and that does mean that the tyre temperatures and everything is kept well up to temperature, so if the unsafety car comes in just as they rejoin the back of the pack, you can gain an advantage from that in trying to get some overtakes done early on.
I wouldn't call it a mortal wound here, John, but I think he's certainly been shivved in the calf.
That's one way of saying it, yes, indeed. It's a tricky scenario, because when you get just a damage or just back down in the pack, it can be a difficult recovery just mentally. You think all I have to do is be consistent, keep it on the track, just keep scoring points, and after 2 wins on the trot, well, you know, you want a 3rd one, and it's currently not going to happen today, as they say.
Yeah, so if you want that, you're going to need a bit of help. It's not impossible, it's just a bit improbable. But I am interested with Matt 212 at the front of this field, able to hold that place and do everything necessary to go and make this race work. So being at the front, having some control, the unsafety car is in this lap.
That is quite ideal for Aerotech, I think. It's just rejoined the back of the safety car queue, so it will be a question mark for Matt 212, won't it? I mean, they're on 7 laps of their stint, so it's not ideal, but for everybody behind Grand Poubert and Super Noodle Bagel, it's the same thing. Grand Poubert, Super Noodle Bagel, they're on 8 and 18 laps of their stint, respectively, according to the telemetry here. So, yeah, that's a weird place to be in, and it does mean that everybody like Monkey Matt, Reska Kyoso, Lithium Fox, Countdown Dalomo, and everybody behind, they essentially have to get an overtake done to not get left behind. The directive given by race control is that Matt 212 is to maintain pace, no overtaking until the line, but he will have the credence to go whenever he wants to, so long as the unsafety car is down in pit lane, and that 999 has made its box. So whenever Matt 212 wants, he will have at the start to go and work. Lofty heights right now. It's almost as if it's 2009 all over again with that Brawn livery at the front of the field. But you do have Ryan L83, you do have Brendan Hyperstar, Grand Poubert, Super Noodle Bagel, then Monkey Matt, who is there in 6th position. But Matt giving it an awfully long way before the drop of back to running, gets the clearance sorted, and we are back underway and racing here at Oulton. I wonder if he was just waiting to get the sort of like traction loss over Deer's leap, but it didn't really work out for him, and that's the stag doing a huge drift there, as we did have briefly some action between Monkey Matt and Super Noodle Bagel, but no overtake was made at the front. Ryan getting very toasty in terms of pace from the get-go. We've seen this so many times from Ryan, but this is where the contact usually happens, so he's got to be a bit careful as well.
He does, and so they're all going to be there. There's a big amount of smoke because Super Noodle Bagel's missing a rear wing, and there's going to be more contact back there as well that's going to cause dramas, and I think Riff Blondie has fallen foul.
Oh, what a shame. Just dropping it on the grass, just taking too wide a line, and there was nothing really you can do about that, just a passenger after the mistake. And then I think people going off in sort of avoiding action, expecting people to slow down, as we have a beautiful message from Lamp here as well on the Halo device.
Yeah, Lamp's going to give us a bit of a hello then and say, look, this is what we want to do. We want pace, we want progress, and we want to jump on up and say this is what we can do. He's on the back of Monkey Matt here in 7th position and working hard through Druid's Corner. It's a double apex right, attack off the exit, under the bridge, which is the entrance to the paddock. There, that bridge, and then in through Lodge Corner, which is the opening gate for the regular goers around this Oulton Park Circuit to go and navigate through. Back up on the power once again, but they've caught Reska Kyoto, and this could be a pass now for P5 to get down the inside at Old Hall. Thank you, no! Monkey Matt goes round!
What an avoidance by Lamp, though. My days, that was a few millimeters away from tragedy for Lamp. That was so committed through the corner for Monkey Matt, but it has gone oh so wrong, just colliding with the front wing there. Let's see if we can get that on a replay. So just going really deep into the corner, the converging apex. I mean, there was nothing really done wrong there. It's just such an unfortunate incident, and you can see Lithium Fox as well, I think, in the background there, just avoiding it as well. Very lucky for everybody to get away with that one, essentially.
Clearance was necessary, and we've seen it, and now the group forms with Sparks, Conton, Del Olmo, Storm Molina on the back. Rescucoso's in there with Lithium Fox, so those two VTubers together, and Lamp trying to fly the coupe at this moment and get away and back up to the leading quadruple at the front of Matt 212, Ryan L83, Brendan Hyperstar, and Graham Pooh Bear through Knickerbrook, and now back on the power. Off the road goes Conton Del Olmo. Here comes Storm Molina up the clay hill.
Yeah, that is definitely Storm Molina's advantage. They'll have the inside for Druids.
Olef!
What has gone on? Oh, we see a car off yet. That is Lithium Fox off. Possibly just gone a bit wide. I thought we were going to see Contan go wide, but actually Contan has managed to defend the place after all of that.
It's so well done on the defence, but you know that every driver out there is scrapping. Punju, for example, with the Stag, with as well Blueberry, Sparks down the inside of Reska Kyoso. That will get the pass done. Up to 6th is that move, and there is that 3-car scrap as Punju a little bit slow out of Old Hall Corner, down through Denton's turn 2, which is known on the avenue, and into the Cascade at turn 3. He's going to get close. Oh, he's going to tag the Stag, and now here comes Blueberry trying to find an angle to the inside, but the road is blocked.
I will say, great recovery, but they're still side by side. There's still time for shenanigans. The Stag going all the way around the outside, not being able to maintain the pace though. Maybe just lifting off to not get that snap oversteer. And indeed, Blueberry just trying to find a way past. They have the pace. Probably, in terms of pace, Punju is probably the second quickest in this, so might be trying to pull away from the Stag. But Blueberry definitely has the pace advantage over the both of them, so stay tuned for more action as we have a huge amount of cars in front with Sparks and Lamp leading the pack in front there. Contan Del Olmo just trying to make a way up the order, but I think Contan's had a mistake. He has, on the outside of Knickerbrook Corner. That is a big mistake, and is Contan stuck? No, he's got going again, but maybe some contact there, or he's lost it through the chicane.
We'll take a look. I don't think there was contact. I think he's just gone a bit too far over, grabs the grass, and round you go. You just lose all traction with the contact patch of the rear tyre. There, that tyre spins a little bit slower than the other tyres around, and so you have a massive loss of grip, and that's how quickly it can all fall afoul. Ryan L83 looking for the race lead here against Matt 212. 0.2 of a second between them as they work down through the Cascades. This is the best I've seen Matt 212 race here in the Creator Series of any format out there at the moment. Feigns a little defence over to the inside, going through at the island corner. He'll be safe at Shell Oils unless there's an Uber send to the inside, and now wee woo, we need lap traffic to get out of the way. Riff Blondie and Super Noodle Bagel.
It's about to heat up, that's for sure, and we don't want any incidents, but you know, you can't think about that at the moment. You're in a battle, you've just got to keep pushing and go flat out. Lamp nearly collecting the inside tyre barrier there, so through Britain's chicane, so a very, very aggressive stance needed with these chicanes to gain time, but it can go so wrong so fast. And especially when you're in the midfield, sometimes somebody has a lock-up in front of you. Oh, Lamp's lost it at the same place as Contant. Grand Poubert just avoiding it, and Lamp not getting on the brakes, which proved to be the correct decision at this point. But yeah, very risky move, and is rejoining, but the positions will be lost still at the top of Clay Hill here as the Stag goes past as well. Maybe Blueberry getting around the outside. Yeah, just no way to regain the momentum, and that is Lamp all the way down to P11 so far.
Yeah, and drivers starting to work out what's happened. Rhino 83 going, no, Lamp, you can't spin around like that. So Lamp having issues out there and dropping back, but we're over halfway now in this race. Lap 26 here of 46, and you start to think, when is it going to see the tinderbox go up in flames? That's where I think we're seeing drivers trying to push and say, what can they do? Sparks having a wonderful run at the moment has pulled the car back into the top 5, and this will be enough to retake the championship lead. Massive accident there for Lamp, who has gone straight into the barriers with a massive hit, and that one was huge down at the Cascade, fastest part of the circuit.
Yeah, so once again, collision at turn 1. It's a converging turn which goes a little bit tighter after the apex, and then I think what we're going to see is the Stag just not turning in where Lamp expected it, and Lamp did turn in. And paradoxically, the contact with the tyres has just meant that Lamp has got pinged off into the barrier, sadly.
The Stag does not concern itself with incidents with Lamp.
The Stag does not turn in at the corner at the apex, yes. There's a lot of jokes we can make about that one, but unfortunately none of them will bring Lamp back into contention, as we do have Sparks now on the back of Grand Poubert trying to get an overtake done. Reska Kyoso looks quite aggressive as well at this stage, but look at the overspeed that Sparks is able to carry into the corner. It is looking like it's heating up. Look at that as well. Ryan at the front, 0.2 of a second, trying to eye up an overtake as well, but it's just not happening at the moment. I think Sparks has compromised himself here, just trying to go for the gap on the inside. It's Ryan trying to get the undercut working. It's not happening so far. Sparks on the defensive into turn 1 as well. Got two converging battles here at the front and in the midfield.
Yeah, Matt 2-on-2 is trying to hold off with Rhino 83, who leans a little bit there over into the corner as he reps his fabled Nottingham Forest. They go now through the island corner. There'll be a chance for Shellows. Little wiggle there from Matt 2-on-2. Gives himself the option. Round the outside's going to be tough, and it's not going to quite pay off. Now you need to use the banking off the exit. Go get that next run here through the Britain chicane. No changes in that secondary group for 4th, 5th and 6th. But Matt 2-on-2 is doing what you need to do around a tight circuit like Oulton Park. Drive the middle of the road and no one will get by.
Yeah, that was pretty dangerous, but he just kept to the inside around Shell Oil's corner. And it means that on the outside now, there's quite a few marbles accumulating, and that just means you wash wide and you can't really do anything. So it's quite tricky to formulate an overtake. And as long as you carry about 1 car's distance into Druids, as Matt 2-on-2 is doing now, you're safe into Lodge because of the dirty air effect through Druids. Look, losing half a car's length, it just means you're, unless you lose traction through Lodge, you're still safe into Old Hall as well. So very, very tricky here for Ryan to mount a counter-attack. But strategy will come into play. Matt 2-on-2 will have to pit at some point.
You'd expect it, and you'd expect it soon with the fact that he didn't come in with everybody else. That's an extra 7 laps that he's got to put in the back pocket and make sure it brings himself through. But he's doing a stellar job of just holding himself steady. Brendan Hyperstar, actually, I think, is doing a great job of keeping himself honest in this one. He's only 2 seconds adrift at this stage, as we can confirm that Chesnoy Gaming is done and dusted for tonight and out of the race after pulling the car into pit lane after a massive hit into the barriers through Lodge and the Deer lead.
Yeah, that's not ideal. It's kind of gone from bad to worse, hasn't it, for Chesnoy? Let's see what happened here then. On his own, trying to just get some time back. Very conservative braking into Lodge, but I'm guessing it's on the exit. Yeah, the corner tightens, and you're not going off into the gravel trap, but you are going off onto the grass. Spin around, and that is contact with the wall. And I think that might have been the incident where you just go, it's just not working for me today, and I'm just going to crash more and more and more if I stay out here.
Sparks through then on Grand Poubert. It now means it's Reska Kyoso's turn to try and pick up that place. Poubert a little bit, I would say, cathartic through the corner. This will, try on the grass at the Clay Hill. Reska, where are you going? Here comes Cramboobed looking straight back at Druid for a pass on Sparks, but Sparks has it marked, so he's definitely got everything. That's not just one overtake defense, that's an M&S defense there of an overtake.
That certainly is. Reska nearly lost it as well through Druid, so everybody's on the limit here. And I tell you what, Sparks is going again from having the pace to do the overtakes to being attacked left, right and centre from Grand Poobert. Look how close they are. And I mean, Grand Poobert's just got that turn of performance now, it seems to me. So stuff happening just in the background, maybe gaining a little bit of confidence where you can just turn a situation on its head, and now Sparks is the one being hunted down. Reska Kyoso, though, very, very aggressive at the moment, looking for those overtakes. As you saw, Grand Poobert to the inside. This is looking to be an overtake here. Oh, nearly on the grass for Sparks. He will have the inside line braking very, very late. Makes the apex. Reska Kyoso up the inside. There's contact. Nearly being spun around, but thankfully both drivers get out of it scot-free. That was very, very close.
That was as close could be, so they were able to scarper away without anything more happening, and then covered right across the beams over towards Hislop, and now Kyoso back to the inside, looking to take the road away. There's not much between them. Lithium Fox makes sure it's a VTuber sandwich, and nowhere to go through Knickerbrook, so Lithium Fox will stay behind. Grand Poobert losing out the placement then, and watching on was Storm Alina and Blueberry out there on track trying to do everything they could. And I will note as well, it's a long road for Punju at this moment in time, knowing that this is going to be a very tough race, and has just lost the place to El Zindriani out there with a spin. So all on at this moment in time, and still pretty much nothing more that can be done except go out there, prove you got pace, and make this race work.
It's always difficult when you go on to different equipment than what you're used to. It's all in the subtleties, all of the subtleties of the adjustment to force feedback, because when you're on the limit with the oversteer or indeed the understeer, if you don't have the correct feeling, or if you have a different feeling than what you're used to, you can have a completely different reaction. And I think that's the case for Punju today. Just trying to do the things he's normally used to doing in the rig, and it's just having a 1% difference, and that's all it takes to have a spin. For example, on board here with Ryan attacking still Matt 212. I think Ryan at this stage will be able to denote all of the colour variations in the livery of Matt 212's car, or the state of the rear tyres, down to the absolute minimum or maximum detail, I should say. And yeah, it's looking like there's just no way past at the moment. I think Ryan is just being patient, because realistically they're pulling a gap to Brendan Hyperstar, so I don't think Ryan should be concerned at this point.
Yeah, this is what we call a piggyback out there at the moment. This is brilliantly done by Ryan L83. He's trying to play the percentages right now, knows that he's seeing a driver who might need a bit of help out there in terms of making it all the way home. So this could be the moment that happens, and up the hill, here comes the chance again. A little moment for Matt 212. It's not going to quite open itself up by chance, but into turn one, they will stay with the angle that they have available. And again, Matt 212 has had to elevate the game, and look at how it's paid off.
Yeah, it's just Matt is quick in the places he needs to be quick. Into Lodge, for example, into Old Hall, and every single time that Ryan gets close, it's in the sections where you can't overtake, aka into the first chicane here that we're just about to come up to. It's into, for example, Druids, where if you're not alongside, you can't get the move done. And I think Matt is just doing a grand strategy of probably lifting off at certain places to save fuel to get those laps back, because he's gone a grand total of 17 laps now during the stint. The most stint that I've seen is about 18 to 19 laps, so it's looking like Matt will need to come into the pits very soon. But every lap that he can hold up Ryan, or at least keep Ryan at bay, is additional strategies that open up for the end of the race.
Wow, this is where everyone is starting to work out. Where are we going to find the chances that make this work? The group is starting to close up here behind Reska Kyoso. I want to keep focus on that as well. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th, because Storm Molina and Blueberry are encroaching on this at the top 10. But for the lead, it is continuing to be this close affair between Matt 212 and Ryan L83, and Ryan just can't seem to find Matt's number, even though it's in his name, 212.
Oh, Matt wide there, though. That's going to be a great loss of speed. Can Ryan get it up the inside before Cascades? No, he's going to have to go wide. And there you can see the washout of the aerodynamics. You just can't get the turn in. Meanwhile, Grand Pooh Bear being challenged by Lithium Fox. Can any overtake be attempted here? No, they're just driving the car, as the Halo says us each week. That quotation gets me. But, you know, that just demonstrates how difficult it is to get the overtake around here, and unless it's just after a safety car, for example, it's so tricky to know how much speed you can take into the corner. Because, for example, when we saw Sparks versus Grand Pooh Bear, for example, into the second chicane, it could have ended in contact. It was only Grand Pooh Bear just saying, okay, I've lost the position, let's keep my head here. But it can end in so many different ways. I think we're about to see Lithium Fox attempts to the inside here alongside. No, thinks better of it. And that is just the case. You have to be just consistent and persistent in the pressure. Eventually, the driver in front will make a mistake.
I'm going to ask you this question here, John. Because this track is so scary, the driving standard has been so high because they know one wrong move is disaster.
Yes, I agree. It's one of those tracks where you know if you put a wheel on the grass, it's over. And so you don't attempt those moves, for example, into Lodge, because you know that it tightens.
Reska!
And, for example, Reska could spin on the exit, so you don't want to leave yourself open to that possibility. I think Reska just went too deep into that corner, trying to gain time. And that's allowed Lithium Fox to get up the inside, because Grand Pooh Bear had to lift a little bit. But Lithium Fox has gone wide on turn 1, and Grand Pooh Bear comes all the way right back past. What a showmanship at the moment in this pack. Storm Molina looking to try and get past, but no gap visible. That was a sequence of events that I didn't have on my bingo card.
Well, Lemony Snicket, what a series of unfortunate events that turned out to be for Reska Kyoso. This is where you're now going to be starting to think down the inside. Oh, just the tiniest door that shuts. There, as if it was Alice in Wonderland. The Lithium Fox, Grand Pooh Bear doing everything possible. Storm Molina can't find an angle, neither can Blueberry. Let's take a look at Reska's spin.
Let's have a look here. Oh, lost it even on entry. Yeah, didn't make the apex. And once you've got it sideways there's not much you can do. Because what happens is you try and save the car, and then you're going over the crest, which makes the car light. So it increases the oversteer or understeer that you're feeling. And if you're spinning... Oh, Lithium Fox all the way around and just spun out the same way, really. Just getting it rotated on the apex. And just trying to put the power down, I guess, for going up Clay Hill. But that's going to cost them even more places. The Stag and Reska Kyoso going past now, probably. Very unfortunate. This does give Storm Molina, though, a chance, and indeed Blueberry, to close up to Grand Pooh Bear, who I must say has been doing a great job just keeping it consistent so far.
You think Lithium Fox had separation anxiety from Reska Kyoso?
I mean, they do say that they do like working together to just carve through the field, although I don't think it was their plan to drop behind people to then carve through the field again. Doesn't seem like a good race strategy 2/3 through the race.
No, so they'll need a little bit of work, and it looks like with the way this strategy is working out, everybody is pretty okay on fuel. So they're looking to just try and build that margin to the end. They've got a few drivers to deal with in front, so this group will soon approach on Ancephalosis, Super Noodle Bagel, and Joshimas, who are all scrapping for position one lap down.
Yeah, I mean, they're entitled to scrap for position. They've just got to be careful about not having any incidents. But, you know, it does mean that when you're trying to overtake them, you've got to proceed with caution, haven't you? You know, how aware are they going to be? It's a bit like when you're racing an endurance race and you try and overtake a different car class. Are they going to spot you going for the overtake? It's always a question mark that you have in your head, and it can lead to mistakes. As you said, you can ill afford to even put a wheel on the grass through here, so if you have to take avoiding action, that can amount to the same thing at this point. As look at the pace Blueberry has closing. That's at half a second gained to Grand Poubert, and this will be a converging pace at the moment, as Ryan still about that 2 to 3 tenths of a second behind Matt 212, still no way past.
It was not Blueberry's fault that the race lead fell away. It was contact with encephalosis, as now here comes the pass down the hill. The Stag looking to try and concern itself with a move back on Reska Kyoso, with their Lithium Fox just behind. In towards turn number 1 of Old Hall Corner they go, as close as you dare between them, and just enough then makes that happen. And I'm just looking around, and it looks like Lamp has got into troubles, and Lamp's had a very big spin down at Knickerbrook.
That is not ideal. I mean, it's happened to at least 3 people at this point, just getting oversteer on the apex, it seems. So let's have a look here. Lamp being pressured by, I think that's Aerotech. So let's see, a wheel on the grass. No, just on the, I'd say on the dirty patch. Oh, and Aerotech nearly collecting him in sympathy. But I'd say just getting, oh, and rejoining in front of El Zindriani, I think that is. That could have been disastrous. A very poor rejoin, I must say.
Yeah, that's not the greatest that Lamps got back up to speed again, and would have been very much tunnel vision at that point. Up the hill they go. That's been a car off the road, so that's Joshima's. So encephalosis will pick up a place then out of Knickerbrook as they head towards Druids, over the top of the clay hill, now at Druids corner. And so you're thinking every position is going to matter between now and the end of this race. Here comes the run then as we watch the race leaders, because there was a chance the passing there is with Blueberry, who's side by side now with Grand Poo there, going over towards Old Hall Corner once again of turn number 1. Is this going to be where the move manifests into the right-hander? It could be 2 trying to get through, because Stormalina's trying to join the fray.
Lovely late braking. That trail braking from Blueberry is second to none, isn't it? Grand Poubert is going to try and go back up the inside though, but just not the pace, and just having a snap of oversteer mid-apex there, so Stormalina might get the overtake done. This is what I was saying earlier in the race. That overtake was set up back from Druids from Blueberry, so it's taken 3 corners for that overtake to happen. So you need to first get alongside and then try and get the overspeed to actually get all of the car in front so that you can slam the door shut. And that is the difficulty, because the track does go left and right quite a bit, so if you're ahead at one corner you could find yourself behind. Grand Poubert having a lazy chicane there, that does open up the opportunity, but great exit speed, so it should be okay. Stormalina will show the nose, but probably, is going late on the brakes. That was nearly a collision, and that's Joshua's just straight lining the chicane to not get involved in any of the antics that are happening right now.
Well, he just outbroke himself against encephalosis, and look at what Blueberry's going to be staring at now. The driver that wronged her in the safety car period. So I wonder what sort of gesture she might be thinking about as she's going by here, trying to get the lap sorted. Going to dive down on the brakes. I'm going for first, and so there gets the clearance through the corner. Oh, big slide, and now encephalosis might try and unlap back here as they now start to work. So there's the clearance. Grand Poubert now is going to dive down the inside, try and get that sorted, but encephalosis saying, no, let me have my moment, let me cook. And speaking of cooking, we'll have to go to the front of the field, because Matt 212 had an immense amount of pressure through the island corner there from Ryan L83, who got right up against the rear tyre as the Stag is in the pits with a speeding penalty.
Not ideal. Ryan really taking the aggressive line here to try and get the maximum exit speed. It was all over the rear diffuser, but it's still not happening. He's got that extra half a kilometre per hour difference, but it's not enough. And as long as Matt 212 just defends, I don't see how Ryan can get through. But there is an opportunity here.
Safety car. Oh my goodness, so it changes again. Well, they were having word that there won't be any unsafety car after lap 40, but on lap 37, you get one.
Yeah, indeed, and we have to wait for confirmation as to what has happened there. But yeah, a lot of drivers will be tempted to maybe come into the pits here for their last stint. We'll have to wait and see. But I think some cookies have been deployed once again. So yes, the unsafety car running full on fuel, let's put it that way. And Matt 212 is in the pits. I think Ryan has stayed out.
So with Matt 2-on-2 having to take a cheap pit stop. It will drop him the position, but critically will mean he's good to the end. And I think everyone else is good to the end with the fact that they are staying out and not needing to take service. So that is quite important as the unsafety car is out there, and we can confirm it is Scotty Designs, by the way, in the unsafety car, who will still be a little weary from party celebrations that happened with Scotland making the World Cup for the first time in 28 years.
Oh, you love to hear that sentence, don't you? That is an achievement, that's for sure. And I can understand the partying as well. Just want to say, somebody that will be partying as well, Blueberry up to P4 again after all of that has panned out. So from being wiped out of the leads, they still have a chance at a podium, if not of race victory, if something happens in front. Ryan now has the unenviable task, I must say, of trying to avoid everybody trying to overtake to get their laps back. It could happen again. I don't wish it to happen again, but you have to be so cautious about what is happening around you. So it'll be interesting to see. Matt 2-on-2 might have taken fresh tyres, although it was a very quick pit stop. So they're still in P5. I'd suggest they probably haven't gone for a new set of tyres, but just knowing that you have enough fuel to go to the end might be an incentive to push flat out anyway.
So, as far as it goes, we are now going to be in a position where Ryan L83 sits with the lead, Brendan Hyperstar second, then it's Sparks, then it's Blueberry. But here's the thing, I don't think that there is going to be anything for Matt 2-on-2. I think if he wanted a quick stop, you wouldn't have taken tyres.
Yeah, that's for sure. The pit stop, what was it? 4 seconds, the pit stop. So
That's
I'd
just
say
fuel.
That's just fuel, yeah. So, I mean, it was the case of, yeah, if you go for tyres, you're going to end up probably another 5 positions down. There were a few gaps, but I'd say probably another 5 positions, not worth it in terms of tyres. You maybe have a second difference in terms of pace, but unless a driver makes a mistake in front of you, it's probably not going to pan out. So an interesting call for sure. But I think Matt was just thrown off by the previous safety car anyway in terms of strategy. So it was just working itself out from there.
So that's where you're starting to think, right, these are the late stages of this race. Everything is on the line, and you have got to do what you can to jump up. A look then with Reska Kyoso, then in 11th position out there and needing to jump up. Some quick drivers there like Monkey Matt down the order, Conton Dal Olmo, Aerotech and Lamp will have to find a way up there. You got drivers like the Stag, Josh's Corner, who's had a pretty much everywhere day, still inside that top 10. And then you got Storm Molina, who's quietly worked her way to 6th. So this is a day of, you know, the story pretty much doesn't match what the context of this race has been, but this is what the final stages are going to be all about. Everything thrown against the wall, see what sticks.
Most definitely, most definitely. And I think ironically, again, for the championship, all of the heavy hitters at the moment are quite far down the order. I mean, I'm looking at Aerotech and P14, for example, but you know, you can look at the whole standings there to see that at the front of the order is the people that actually need to score big points. Ryan at 83, Brendan Hyperstar, Sparks. Maybe not Sparks, to be fair. They're best placed to take the championship's lead at the moment. But yeah, it is a topsy-turvy championship, and this is the beauty of the Creator Series. It's never over until the last race.
And there goes the car in anger here with Scotty Designs behind the wheels. So this will be all about getting up to speed and making sure that they are getting clearance and going back to the pits. Oh, no, they don't need one chicane out there. They are flying out there at this moment. Has anyone told him that there's 2 chicanes on this lap? Oh, he's going to go off-roading here. Oh, this is why we don't let you drive after a party, Scott. Where's the designated driver, TK?
I needed that G-force sensor to be read back to us. That was definitely a 20 or 30 G impact with the tyre bundle. I must say, sturdy tyre bundle on the inside. I've seen it go flying in real life racing, but it's very sturdy right here in iRacing as we have drivers warming up their tyres. And it'll be a question as well, where does Ryan decide to go? Because with the unsafety car technically having to tow back. Well, the unsafety car actually is still there. So, hang on. Question, Jake. Are you allowed to overtake the unsafety car in this scenario?
Yes, because it's off the racing surface.
Yeah, very good answer. But it will be disconcerting for Ryan as well, because he can go technically at any point from now on, which is a very weird sentence where you could go just flat out through Druids as a restart. But it will be a case of, I expect, knowing Ryan, I expect him to go just on the apex of Lodge. Just as soon as you're cresting the corner, because that means that P2 has to step on the accelerator when you're just about to lose traction. And that would be the perfect restart. Brendan has the speed, and Ryan knows that he needs to create a little bit of the gap.
But Brendan Hyperstar has been one step behind Ryan L83 through the entirety of today's running. Ryan knows what he needs, and that is a big result. But the big issue he's got is that Sparks is in third position right now, and it's going to be taking major points in the championship, heading to 2 weeks' time and racing action at Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Lichtenberg isn't going to play this weaving game. Very happy with the Pirellis underneath him at this moment, but Ryan L83 looks to set it up and is going to think about this jump. Who's going to get the launch? And there is that launch up through the Deer Leap, and we're back underway with just 7 laps to go here at Oulton Park.
Lithium Fox has got the jump on Storm Molina in the background. It might be an overtake, but I don't think quite so. The Stag also trying to go for it, but it's going to leave himself vulnerable to Josh's corner. That is Reska Kyoso trying to go as well, but Reska Kyoso is actually going to get the overtake on Josh's corner. Just left the door open on the inside, and through goes Reska Kyoso. So that was quite easy to be done. Here we got Sparks trying to overtake Brendan Hyperstar. So Ryan went a little bit later. He went in the dip, really.
Oh, he's locked
up! He's gone wide. Can he defend it? It's going to be open to get the overspeed, but he will have the first apex of the chicane. I think it's defended, but only
it's a huge accident. We got a car upside down. We got a car upside down out there on the road, and it's Monkey Matt, who is reverted back to spec from New Zealand. He knows what upside down's all about.
Not ideal. I think there might have been contact with Josh's corner, actually, and the Stag involved in that one. Not what I expected, but that is a terrifying view, that's for sure. So we'll have to see if we can get another angle of that, see what has happened. There's a car off. Is that Matt 212 that has gone off? I think it was, onto the grass, so losing a considerable amount of time there, and you'll have to try and get that back, but the gap is 1 second there already to Blueberry, who looks to be trying to get themselves onto the podium. In terms of championship, it would benefit Ryan, that's for sure.
Yeah, it will also benefit your championship leader, Aerotech, who's now up to 12th, and it will also help Punju in 13th. Lithium Fox has a little off, and so that's going to allow a couple to move, but it's too clear. Ryan L83, your leader. Brendan Hyperstar second. Sparks and Blueberry try and do something, but wide there goes Brendan Hyperstar, and the gap becomes half a second. Now over to 6/10 down the hill through the Cascades. Now you start affecting yourself with that dirty air lamp with penalty.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Lamp. It's just going from bad to worse, isn't it? As I think Matt 212 has made a little bit of a mistake, as they've been overtaken by Storm Molina there just before Island Bend, and Sormelina will defend, although Matt will do their best to go round the outside. Not happening for the moment. So there is overtaking opportunities that are possible. It's just you've got to try and make it work in the narrowest of opportunities. It's kind of one of those decisions where split second you have to go yes or no. I'm going for it or not, because if you hesitate, it will be game over. And I think still trying to get a replay from Monkey Matt, but is that still the unsafety car parks on the exit?
It is. And we got side by side off the exit there as Storm Molina gets by Matt 212. Reska Kyoso waits with Grand Pooh Bear and Lithium Fox, as these 5 have their own scrap right now for best of the rest in 5th place out there. So working through Druids, every little battle is going to house itself with something big to work with between now and the end of it. Matt 212 back to the outside. It's the best I've seen him driving Creator Series. He's not going to get the full result that he deserves, but this P6 right now, he wants a top 5 for the day.
Yeah, it was so close to being able to do the switch back and get on the power earlier, but Storm Molina defended it very well, just delaying the rotation effectively to just block off and make the car as wide as possible. That meant that Matt couldn't really do anything. Matt just getting a little bit of dirt on the tires. That won't help lose a car length through here, and you can't afford to do that when you're in a close pack. I think Resca Kyoso might have a run here, at least just looking at it. Matt turns in, so they're not alongside from our perspective here, but it's very close behind. And a lockup that might allow Resca Kyoso up the inside. Yes, you can see the front wing there. Resca Kyoso has the advantage in terms of track position, but Matt 212 has the advantage of the turn-in. It will go to Resca Kyoso's advantage, but Matt can just get on the power. What a great move in terms of racecraft there from every driver involved in that, though.
Stellar, simply stellar from Matt 212 at the Britain chicane, holding it around the outside, pinning the throttle down and saying, Resca, not today. Grand Poubert still sits in play. Lithium Fox just behind that, trying to work her way up the hill. The gap at the front now, 1.4 seconds for Ryan L83, as Sparks is desperate to find a way through and is having no help from Brendan Hyperstar right now.
No, for sure. And Blueberry appearing on the radar as well. This could be a three-way battle for second place, heating up with not many laps to go now, that's for sure. So we go on to lap 42 of this race. So lap 43, sorry, the counter has just ticked over right there. And yeah, it will be so tricky for Sparks to get a move. But at the end of the day, you've got to go for it, I think. These are big points. You have to do it for the championship. You've got an advantage. And Brendan Hyperstar going wide and just not getting the turn-in will be all of the incentive that is necessary. Just want to point out we've had some great side-by-side racing today. Let's see if that holds up with... that is
off!
On the grass.
Brendan's off! 2 places go, straight like that. Blueberry back to the podium, and Sparks now into second position. Brendan Hyperstar left a little bit of room and just had a bit too much to work with. So that gap changes. Kyoso then side by side again with Matt 212. Resca still can't make it happen at Britain's.
I can't believe Brendan. I stopped commentating there for just a second. I thought Brendan was about to swap ends there and go straight into the barrier. Miraculously saved it just through car control. But that will just be that little bit of confidence that you need. You can see he's dropped off the back of these two now. And yeah, I mean, you've just got to try and get the pace back. You've got to try and go for it now, because Brendan really doesn't have much to lose. He's made that mistake. Needs to try and get it back, but Matt is under pressure as well. Resca Kyoso definitely seems to have the pace. You can see Resca's car is just very much so oversteering at this point. I'm not sure what's causing that, but it's giving great rotation, and you can get on the power so early, just practically pushing Matt through the last turn.
Is under immense amounts of pressure along the main straight. Now you're sensing that every turn is one that has to be defended, and Resca Kyoso again on the outside, seeing that Matt 212 has got a car as wide as the River Severn at the moment, does the Welshman. There is nothing that he can do except defend, and Grand Poubert might want in, and Lithium Fox might want in the final stages of this battle. Sparks with a mistake! Sparks with a mistake, and that's going to be now Blueberry up into second position, a half spin through the Shell Oils corner.
Lucky to get away with that. If we can get a replay, let's see exactly what happened. So it was just late braking and getting it a bit locked, and then the car just snaps because you're on the banking. If that wasn't a banking corner, it would have been all the way round, I think. So a bit lucky there, but still in podium position. But big implications there for the championship indeed.
One position is going to mean a bit. It's a couple points that Aerotech's going to want back. Grand Poubert now is off and is gone around over towards Knickerbrook, and has just got a bit too close, grabbed the grass, and now has gone around. So that will be more places gone, as through will go the cars of Ancephalosis, Super Noodle Bagel, Unju, and Aerotech, and now straight back. Final corner, Sparks will wrest back control here as Blueberry has nothing for it, or does she, heading over towards turn one.
Yeah, Blueberry just lost it through a little bit through Druids, getting a bit of oversteer and had to lift off, and that gave the run to Sparks. We might see the opposite happen here. Sparks running it a little bit deep into turn one, defending. Blueberry can't quite get the nose alongside. Brendan Hyperstar back in the mix, so that confidence may be regained. There may be an opportunity. 2 laps to go, though. The opportunities are drying up thick and fast. And it looks like Storm Melina won't be able to get to this battle. But look how much speed Blueberry can carry onto the apex of some of these corners. This could go any way of 3 at the moment, or indeed Storm Molina is actually cruising up to the back of them, so this may become a 4-way battle on the last lap.
Yeah, and you've also got Aerotech now up to 9th, which is big for the championship right now, that he is limiting the damage that is being done out there by Sparks in second. There's your leader, Ryan, well, was your leader, Ryan L83, but now you look a little bit further back. That is Aerotech on screen, and he's trying to do what he can to chase this one back at this moment, but this is what you need. Great driving, great skills, out in front, bit of luck.
Yeah, I mean, Ryan's had the antithesis of the entirety of his season so far. He's got lucky with the incidents happening to other people. He's maintained the pace. He's been patient when he needed to be, making the overtakes and waiting for Matt 212 to pit. This has been probably what he wanted all season, but can he get it to the finish? It is the final lap now, as Sparks and Blueberry are still locked in battle with nothing to choose between them, with Brendan Hyperstar just sitting with popcorn at this stage, as Blueberry, I think, has made a little bit of a mistake there, losing a car length. That could be decisive in this last lap.
It could be, and this is what we talk about. You got to race all 46 laps and say you're not going to win this one on lap 45. You can still lose this race on lap 46. You've got to drive all of them as if they all count. And now into the Shell Oils corner, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and 5th go now. Storm Molina desperately trying to up onto the rear of this group and not finding much luck of it out there at this point. Working hard. Brendan Hyperstar too aggressive to the rear then, going through the Britain chicane. They'll head up over the top of the hill and now move themselves down towards Hislops, and the gap's starting to showcase here. A bit of traffic for Ryan L83 in the form of Monkey Matt heading through the final stages to climb up the clay hill one final time in this race, and we'll know that with Cookie Monster just in front, he knows he's on a very safe street. It may as well be Sesame Street the way he's gone, because he knows that he was down in this championship. He knows he needed a big performance here today, and at the time he needed it the most, Count Von Count can say he can deliver. Ryan L83 is back in the title hunt with a win here at Oulton Park. Sparks will re-inherit the championship lead in 2nd, and Blueberry, after a long absence, is now P3.
Matt 212 under pressure, I think, into the last turn. Reska Kyoso might get this one at the line. We'll have to wait and see. But it looks like Matt 212 has defended it just by the skin of his teeth. I think it was 1/10 of a second across the line. Aerotech P9, that will be a decent haul of points, but with Sparks and P2, I think the championship lead will change hands comfortably there. Super Noodle Bagel rounding out the top 10. But a disastrous day, it must be said, for Lamp at this point. But look at how much it means to Ryan. He's had so much frustration. He has had so many bad things go his way. So many incidents where it hasn't really been his fault. And now he gets the satisfaction of finally getting the championship back, at least a little bit in order.
Go on, get in there, my son. Burn it down with all sorts of weaving about there, really working on the steering wheel there for a moment. Absolutely brilliant. Whoa, watch out, there's a bit of baked bean spillage there on the right-hand side. That's Super Noodle Bagel going through, but what a day, and a big smile on Ryan's face. He knew how important it was to get a result today, and boy, did he manage it. Let's take a look at classified results then, here from Oulton Park in your iRacing Creator Series for season number 2. And with 2 rounds to go after this one, Ryan L83 has emerged back into the title picture with a win here today at Oulton, but Sparks has it covered in 2nd position and will now take the championship lead with the 2 weeks heading over to America and, of course, to Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Blueberry, welcome back. P3 ahead of Brendan Hyperstar, and a great day for Storm Molina up there in 5th place there, just kept it quiet and just picked up the places as was needed. If not for strategy, Mac 212 would have been right up there fighting for the win. So a great day and probably the best I've seen Mac drive in Creator Series in 6th place, ahead of Reska Kyoso and Lith Fox, who cannot be separated like Fuwawa and Mokoko. You've then got Aerotech in 9th position, your former championship leader, ceding a few points today as Super Noodle Bagel will round out the top 10, having started the day, believe it or not, in P10. Punju, a day at the office or a day at the Sim Racing Cafe that he would rather avoid in 11th, ahead of Grand Pooh Bear, whose spin with 2 laps to go cost a top 10. Ancephalosis and Lamp would be 13th and 14th as Joshimus and Josh's Corner. Joshimus showing he's best Josh in 15th place. It's then Riff Blondie and Els Indriani with Monkey Matt allowed to finish, then not 1 lap down but on the lead lap. Conton Dal Olmo will be 1 lap down. And then you got the retirees, which do involve the Stag, Chesnoy Gaming, Dian Vus, and then the 2 unsafety cars here today will also be there and looking to go and get some results. We are going to take this time, though, here to chat with some of our drivers. And I think the best place to start is with the driver who finished off in P3, and that is Blueberry. Welcome back, and a trial by fire, it has to be said. A perfect first start of the stint here, Blueberry, but the issue comes along, ancephalosis and lapping under safety cars.
You know, I guess it happens. You know, we had some issues with that in the past, so, you know. I mean, I came back 3rd, so it's not really a big deal to me.
Was it a case of just miscommunication between Ancephalosis and yourself? Because it looked like some very weird contacts happened, and, you know, how difficult was the recovery after that, I guess?
A lot of it was just staying focused and making sure that I don't make mistakes. I made a few mistakes, but I think that was a really great job and a really great drive, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out.
It's a perfect result then for you in the sense of coming back into a championship like this. Obviously, with the 2 rounds missed, you're not going for title contention, but more rather stage hunting, I guess, is the way that you've got to look at it from now to the end. So with a week to prepare, how do you feel it's going to stack up for you when you head to Charlotte Roval?
Well, practice makes perfect, so I guess maybe I'll do well on that one. I don't know. Roval's not really one of my strong tracks, but we'll see.
So from that, I can gather you prefer like high-speed courses where there's not very sharp turns. Is there a reason behind that? Some characteristic to do with the car?
I guess kind of the momentum of the car, and it's a lot more stable at higher speeds.
So having that stability is going to be the key. So what is it that you think is going to give you stability in the final few rounds of this season?
My attitude. As long as I don't get too ahead of myself.
That's a great answer. 11 out of 10 for that one. Didn't think that was a possible answer, so there you go. In terms of racing other people, I mean, we've got some really big talents out there, and you know, you've done your best to carve through the field. Is there, let's say, a secret to it? How do you go so fast in the Formula 4 car?
I don't know. Like, I was able to come back to the game yesterday, and I guess as if by magic, I'm just so much faster, and I'm just so happy with the way I've been driving for the past couple of days.
Talent. We call that talent, and Blueberry has talent. P3 after a long absence and back, joining us there and joining us with a wonderful bit of chat. I think there is no better time to say this though, but race winner at long last, Ryan L83. That was worth its weight in gold for you. You needed a result like that today. You've only gone and delivered.
Yeah, absolutely knackered though from that. It was a difficult race throughout. I'm tired, but it was a big boost, big confidence boost for me after the unlucky races I've had in the season so far. And seeing Aero, I think, finish 9th kind of helps in the championship as well. And a bit, obviously, the likes of Sparks, who I give a shout out actually because he started from pit lane and he got 2nd. So I have to give him my props, my flowers to him on that one. But yeah, it's a big statement for me now. Championship's back on. 2 rounds to go. Anything can happen. We'll see how we get on.
In terms of the mid race, you were stuck behind Matt 212, and how much did you have to keep sort of everything in check and be patient behind him? Were you trying to go for an overtake, or were you like, it's a different strategy, so I can afford to just sit there and watch effectively?
I knew he had to pit at some point because he didn't pit under the first unsafety car. And my aim was just to, because when we pitted all of the field, we were about a lap short on fuel. So my strategy wasn't to pass Matt knowing he was going to pit, save fuel, and I had 6 laps of fuel left at the end there. So it kind of helped staying behind him. But I know he was trying to do the same thing and try and go longer, but his pace was enough to pull a gap to the cars behind. And it worked for him because I think he finished P6 in the end. And yeah, I wasn't going to make a move on Matt unless he made a mistake and went off into the grass, but he did a good job, and the plan was always to stay behind him and save fuel.
So let's talk about the plan now moving forward. You've got 2 races to go. You said that anything can happen, but we head to maybe one of the more unpredictable ones, Charlotte Roval, with the brand new Roval course in for 2025. So you don't have that more roller coastery section. You've got a bigger braking, overtaking opportunity going back up onto the oval. Do you think that this new Roval layout is going to be pretty much same hat, or do you think it's going to throw a few surprises with that slight change on how that's going to race from season 1 to season 2?
I think it will. However, knowing Punju's mindset, we don't know if it's going to be raining, it's going to, cause a bit of carnage. You don't know with Punju. He likes to spring a load of surprises on us this season. Or even it could be a night race, which would be cool. And Punju, if you're listening, I think a night race will be cool. So yeah, I think it's gonna be similar to this. I think it's gonna be crucial who's on the pole for next week and where the championship rivals are. And I think pit strategy is going to be a factor because I think apart from the oval section, there's not going to be many overtaking. It's going to be quite difficult, and I think a lot of people will try and make late risky moves to try and push themselves up in the championship. So, I mean, I'll take what it is. I've achieved something, and it's a legitimate point scoring win in Creator Series as well, which is something I wanted, and it's still going to be a mammoth task. I was hoping Aero would be outside the points a little bit more, but I mean, the Sparks is up there as well. I think he's leading the championship, I believe, as of right now. I could be wrong, but anything's to play for with 2 rounds to go. And I think Charlotte's going to be the make or break of the championship for not just me, but for everyone around us fighting for that P1. Yeah,
I mean, you've summed it up really well in that the championship's back on. Sparks, I think I can confirm Sparks is... we'll get the standings in a minute after the interviews anyway, but I'm pretty sure it's a safe bet that he's leading the championship now. In terms of overtakes, I'm not sure really. We said in the commentary box that we wouldn't see many overtakes here at Oulton Park, and that has been decidedly not the case, let's put it that way. So perhaps you might have a race to be had at the Roval in terms of trying to work your way up the grid. Just the last question then. How difficult is it to get your way up the grid? Because you started mid-pack here. As you gain points, as you get yourself into the championship battle, you start toward the back of the pack. And does that change anything for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, for the start of this race, what my plan was to just be conservative and make my moves in the right places, but a lot of incidents happened along the way, and I think it's going to be similar, I think, at the Roval. Apart from maybe the bit before you go onto the oval, I know Jake mentioned it earlier, there's a little tweak to it compared to when we ran in Season 1. And I think damage is going to be a factor as well with the curbs as well, so there's going to be a lot of maintaining front wings, side pods, splitters, rear wings, everything. It's going to be a bit of carnage, but the car that I just want to give, if I may, a shout out to Chris and Em, who are probably watching this right now, who have made the livery, and they wanted me to keep it nice and clean for a round at least without being taken out in incidents or anything like that. So kept the car clean. It got to the end, and big shouts to them for making the livery. It's a very beautiful one to make, and hopefully it will stay undamaged, we'll say, for the last 2 rounds of the season. Fingers crossed.
That's a jinx.
Well, it absolutely is, but we'll pretend that never happened. Ryan L83, a win. Go celebrate with the stuff there behind you. You got about 80 bottles of water to get through, so enjoy yourself out there with that. So brilliant stuff for Ryan L83. We are going to jump in with your new championship leader along with us right now, Sparks, here right now. And Sparks, pit lane to second. What do you do?
To be honest, I think the secret is, it may not have looked it, but I had about 30 FPS the entire race, and my eyes are bleeding now after all that. But I managed to survive through. Somehow didn't get taken out once, despite going through a few like crazy moves with Josh, especially through the chicane. And yeah, one thing led to another, and P2, a podium. So can't really complain.
Going for the PS3 experience, I guess, in terms of racing games. So what was sort of your defining moment of the race? Because we saw you make so many overtakes and so many just great defensive moves. You had a bit of a moment late in the race where you nearly spun at the Shell Oils, the hairpin, let's call it, to situate yourself on the track. And like, how much was the pressure at that point to just maintain that P2?
To be honest, I actually felt really comfortable within myself in the car as well, because I knew I was quicker than Ryan, even if not by much, but I was more comfortable than him. And my frames dropped to like 29, yeah, pulling out the excuses. But they dropped to 29, I just didn't feel the car go. But I saw it happen in front of me, so I just quickly hit the brake to make sure I didn't take out Blueberry with me. And I was a bit annoyed about that, because, you know, I was so sure I could have maybe put some pressure on Ryan, especially through some of those chicanes. But there was another moment I had as well, like when Matt was leading the race, where through the fast right-hander, I just lost the rear. Like, I braked too late, and I thought it was over. But I managed to just about keep it in a straight line on the grass. So I think that was my main moment of the race, really, because through no pressure, nothing happening, I nearly binned it by myself there and ended my hopes of a podium. So I'm quite glad I kept it out of the war.
You certainly kept us entertained up here in the commentary box, and to that note, I don't know if I'm right with this, but is your brother a commentator as well?
Yeah, actually he is. He does a lot of commentary. I'm going to shout him out now, actually. He got a BBC internship not too long ago, so he's absolutely killing it. And yeah, he's probably the best commentator I've ever seen in my life. Not in front of you two, of course, by the way, must I add.
All right, Gary.
One was about to cry.
One of the best. He's up there with one of the best. So, yeah.
No, fair. It's fair to shout out talents. You know, there's so many great commentators out there. Talk about great drivers. We've got one to interview in front of us also. We'll give the shout out there. But in terms of the championship, it does give you, as we said, a lead in the championship. So does that change your approach to the last 2 races?
My approach has been the same all season. Tried to get my first damn win, and I still haven't got it up to this point. So I think I'm not going to change the approach. We're going to try and get a win before thinking about the championship. But if it does come down to it where we're still the championship leader in the final round, then of course I might have to think about being more cautious. But it's Creator Series. We're going to go for it anyway, I think.
Okay then, Keke Sparksburg, how is this going to work for you now as you head over to, in 2 weeks' time, the Charlotte Roval? Do you feel like the duck can be broken there?
Hopefully. I mean, I felt like the duck could be broken in Belgium. It was not broken. I felt like it could have been broken in Winton. It could have been broken in the IndyCar race, but I decided to start last, so that ended that. So, I don't really know what to say. Maybe it could, maybe it couldn't. We'll just let the racing gods find out.
Well, the good news is that Ryan has jinxed himself in his interview, so maybe Ryan might be off the cards. But you've got a lot of drivers that could take a win. Do you see any people being particularly strong at the Roval?
I think Blueberry looked really strong today, which was insane considering the issues she had with her PC and the game the entire season. So really good comeback for her to finish third and nearly get P2 from me at the end. So I think she might be one to watch. Obviously Ryan, Lamp if he races, but I think we should watch out for that Sparks guy as well. I think he might, raise a few eyebrows.
Well, that we will have to wait and see. But Keke Sparksburg joining us then and getting himself over a P2 finish here today to take the championship lead very, very quickly. We'll get a chance to chat with Ancephalosis, who had a little bit of a turbulent day today. Ancephalosis, I think the big talking point for you was what happened over with the safety car. It looked like the gap closed on you a bit.
Yeah, and I definitely apologize to Blueberry about that. I was just trying to pass on the left, and it looked like she was leaving me some space to kind of pass over the curb there. But yeah, I don't know. Probably not the best decision to try to get the position or the lap back through the chicanes, but I just thought there was space. So definitely sincere apologies to Blueberry about that. For me, the big point of interest was that I woke up unfortunately quite late, so I had like zero practice.
And in terms of on track, then how much does that change the confidence levels? Because obviously, once you've had sort of an incident and then you've been put to the back of the pack, you've got to try and work your way back up. So, how much did that affect you? Do you think?
Yeah, it was definitely. I was definitely a bit shaken for most of the race, actually, between the late wake up and trying to scrap for practice and the confidence being low. I was also battling FPS demons out there. I was down to 25 at one point. I'm not sure. I've been streaming. My computer's been on for like 30 hours. So I decided to just kill the stream in the hopes that it would save something. And that was actually on the very last safety car. So with about 11-ish laps left. And that was where the confidence turned on. I think I was still back in like P20. So I was like, okay, like, my only chance here, I can't do this with 35 FPS. My only chance is to kill the stream, and then maybe I can get my first points of the season today, because I've been having a really rough Creator Series season. So I was hoping to get my first points, and I think I might have, but I actually also have to talk to you guys about that. Oops, I got a black flag after the race, and I think I was given a post-race penalty, question mark?
So we'll say it counts, and that will drop you down the order, and all results are final, and you've got to pay the biscuit back over to TK and such. But I would say at this moment, looking for points, do you think you'll have a happy hunting ground when you head to Charlotte?
Yes, yeah, for sure. I was looking to get my first points today. I totally understand if the rules are the rules and the black flag counts, and I don't get my first point. It just means I got to hunt that much harder, continue the hunt next week in Charlotte. Definitely have a little bit of confidence on that track and in the car. That's all growing. So yeah, I feel good about next week.
That sounds good. Sounds good to me. And I do wish that you get those points on the boards, and at some point it has to come right. So optimism then for the last two rounds.
Absolutely, I'll make it happen. I promise you.
Oh, promises are made to be kept. Ancephalosis will be gunning for points in 2 weeks' time. And joining us here today, having a wonderful conversation with us. John, final thoughts. The championship as it stands. Sparks clear of Aerotech by 9. We're not going to be able to show you this, but Sparks clear of Aerotech by 9. And Aerotech clear of Ryan L83 by 8. Punju back at 50 points, so 17 and 19 points adrift each.
Yeah, it's kind of looking at those standings that we have. It's kind of the case that everybody needs Sparks to have a bad race or two. Sparks can't finish in the top 5 really for. I mean, Aerotech and Ryan possibly, but for anybody below Ryan, they need a bit of a helping hand really to get back into a championship fight. Looking at Sparks' form and confidence, is that likely to happen? I'm not quite sure, so we'll have to wait and see, especially seeing as Sparks might want to go for that win. The only thing that drivers can hope is that the ambition for that win leads him to disaster at some point.
We talk about it often. Consistency is king when it comes to the Creator Series, and no more have we seen that in its spate than we have done here. Remember, Sparks was the outside shot last year against Kamikaze for the title. Couldn't quite manage it, but now in pole position for that. They know that there is no Creator Series next week, so you're not going to catch us, be it on iRacing or Creator Series socials, but you will be able to see us in 2 weeks' time when Racing Action will take over the Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval for that racing action. But there are still 4 drivers, we can argue 5 if you want to include Greedy Me, who is not here today, who have a shot of this championship. But if you've got consistency to try and beat, it's a case of sparks. Ryan L83 with the win today. One finally for him in the Creator Series. And he knows that it is the kickstart he needs in the back half of this season.